Okay, so just like always, I have a lot of stuff on my plate, things I'm working on. I got a whole brand new camera set up. I'm trying to figure out how to, dial that in and get the best possible picture. And as I'm doing that, my daughter's yelling at me, someone's knocking on the door. I go out, it's the mailman. I got a sign for a package. And that's always a good sign because it means I'm probably getting something from Australia. And oh man, yes, I did. So this is something that one I've been waiting for a really long time. This was a day one pre-order. I got all the messages. I did a whole video of my story of this, but I was sleeping. I got all the messages. I got a friend that lives in Australia was telling me that this was announced. Other friends that were just stayed up all night, were telling me this was announced. And so I rolled out of bed before I could even really get my bearings. I just, grabbed my wallet, ordered this thing, and I've been waiting for it ever since. And so the Neverending Story, I have so many great memories of watching this when I was a kid, and it's just one of my all-time favorites. So this giant big box, one as a movie collector, it's something that I've always wanted. This book, I've always wanted everything that This was just a big splurge purchase, and I totally get that it's not for everybody. It's a very limited run. I'm very glad to have gotten this, and like I said, this was just a day one. I'm so glad that I was able to get one, but they always package it very nicely. This comes in a double box when it doesn't tell you what's on the outside, which is really cool. So yeah, you got the ViaVision Entertainment box here. And it just says just their address and all that stuff. The Neverending Story pack. Really, really cool to have this finally. For me, 100%. Like, it's a big splurge purchase. This is probably one of the more expensive single movie sets I've purchased. Not the most expensive, but it's definitely high up there on that list. And it's an all-time favorite. This is a childhood favorite. Nostalgia got me on this one. And again, this is not for everybody. Some people just want the standard version. And, there are standard versions in Germany. And I think, oh my God. Oh. Oh my God. I just got to take all this in. This is something that, one, it just kind of, oh God, that is just awesome. It comes shipped in this little plastic protective case. We're going to dive into this 100%, but it comes with so many extras I forgot. It comes with, let's see, 1, 2, 3 discs. So we have the original US theatrical cut on 4K. Disc 2 is the German extended cut on 4K, and that's what I was starting to say before I got excited about how this looked. There is a German 4K of this that you can import, and it doesn't have it doesn't have the American soundtrack or scores. There's a song missing. There's something about it. It's not the exact same. So, but you could still import the 4K if you just want to get the movie on 4K. But this is something, this is a collector piece. This is so excited to have this. Disc 3, original US theatrical cut on Blu-ray. So you have that as well. But then this comes with Flights of Fancy, Inside the Scores of the Neverending Story, Interview with a Film Music Historian. That's all on the disc. Disc 4 is the German extended cut on the Blu-ray. And disc 5 is Life After the Neverending Story, that little whole documentary there. Oh, really exciting. And then the extras here. There's something that I'm really glad that they added, and it's it's a replica, but it's the press kit. And so back in the day, they used to send out paper copies and folders of little press release photos and information and stuff that they wanted people to write and talk about, stuff that they were allowing them to publish before the movies may have come out in theater, and just to kind of get the general public excited about this. So the fact that they included that, I am super, super stoked about this. So take this little card off. I don't know if I'm going to keep that on or not, but this little protective case is kind of cool. I'm glad they added it because there are collectors that like to keep their stuff pristine and they like to have these extra cases. And this is so big and ridiculous. It's not like you can just get one of these aftermarket cases. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to open this without actually damaging it. It was starting to tear when I stuck my fingers in there, so this is actually working out nicely. Okay. Oh yeah. Just a big fan of what they did here. Big fan. I am still probably gonna have to try to get a replica book, the actual book to have with this. But oh my god, this is so cool. So that right there, this is a monster. This is right next to my head, and I know other people have shown this off, but just to give you an example, this is a standard 4K size. So this is a monstrous edition. I don't know how I'm going to actually get this on that shelf. My plan was to put it like in the center there kind of, but I don't know if this is actually going to fit. I'm going to have to, somebody else in the comments was talking about putting this on like a display stand. I might have to clear off all my stuff on the floor and put that, somewhere else and hang it up on wall finally, and maybe get a nice pedestal stand for this to stick in the corner. But oh my god, this is awesome. And that's the other thing. I was actually setting up I got another camera here. I was going to set up like a whole unboxing station, and that's not finished. I'm waiting for a part for that. So yeah, I was not, oh my god, that's awesome. So it's magnetically sealed, but as I open it, I am met with this right here. So you have the child. Oh my god, this is so cool. This is such a nice release. Let's open. Let me give you a better shot of that. This right here, I don't want to drop it. That was why I kind of closed it. So yeah, that is just super, super awesome. And like, I'm just impressed like how big and ridiculous this is. How do I get this out? I don't want to damage anything. So yeah, it's glued in the corners there. There you go. Oh my gosh. So this might be the press kit. Oh, this has, okay, here is the press kit I was talking about. So this is something that they would have sent out back in the day to, anybody talking about movies, writing articles about it, the newspapers, the news TV shows. They would have got something like this, and then that way they could have wrote about it, talked about it, and this was all the official stuff released from the studio. So to have a replica, and I do collect these press kits. I don't have many of the paper ones because a lot of my favorite movies by that time they had went to the digital format, so they're on disc. But this paper version, I would definitely, some of my absolute favorite movies I would love to have, but they're kind of hard to piece because if they are around, they're expensive. But then a lot of times because they had like pictures from the movies and the script. We have stuff from the script, and what's this one? This is the biography of it. So they have this. You have the opening story stuff. So this type of stuff would usually get parted out and sold off. So sometimes it's hard to find a whole complete press kit. But yeah, this comes with all this extra stuff. And I know it's not for everybody, but the fact is that I collect press kits to begin with. Just to have this really cool replica one with it is just something really awesome. So you have photos from the movie and just information. And this is the stuff that they would have printed off in the newspapers with a little blurb. Oh man, that's really, really cool. We have this one here. We have this one, Atreyu and Gamork. That scene was just epic. Absolutely love it. And this is just something that I have waited for this for the longest time. The practical effects in here are something that when I was a kid, they just kind of blew me away. And I was like, you clearly knew that they were like practical effects. You knew what was going on, but the whole movie making, movie magic, this is another one of those movies that just kind of sucked me in based on that. This scene right here is pretty epic in the movie. And this one is something that just amazing. Like being a kid and thinking about this was just always cool. So this is when you meet the turtle. Trejo meets the turtle and he sneezes and he's just being blown away. Oh my god, that's awesome. Let's see. On the back of the Luck Dragon, the Falcor. Yep, this is a Trejo riding Falcor. That's pretty cool. And this right here, this is a very sad scene. As a kid, I remember being sad. And then even very recently, it's been all over social media. Like there have been kids dressing up as this, dragging a horse around. And it's just been kind of memed very recently. And it's the Atreyu when he struggles with Artax. Oh my God, it's just, yeah, emotional. It's an emotional scene. Oh, and this is really cool too to see these. The rock biter. So great, so great. Yeah, all this stuff here. This photograph, epic. I was like, it definitely shaped my mind as a little boy. I'm like, there's a statue nudity in this movie. And then the Orin there, the necklace. I've been trying to get one. I was like, my daughter actually didn't want one, so I was trying to get it for her. But now I'm trying to get one, and I was like, there's a few of them on Amazon, so I wanted to put like a display with this and have that hanging in the display because I have tons of copies of this movie. I've got the DVD, a couple copies on VHS. I got the Blu-ray, so I definitely have quite a few copies of this. I might even have a CED of this somewhere. But yeah, this is something that I absolutely love this film. So I wanted to get like a display for this and have like the Orin replica, but a lot of them claim to be like one-to-one movie replicas or props or very similar to it, but they're all kind of different at the same time. So I wasn't sure which one to get. So I haven't got it yet. And it does have the two-tone metal in the movie, and some of them are all bronze and some of them have two-tone, and I'm just kind of apprehensive because some of them are like $50 and it's just something that's going to sit on the shelf. But yeah, that, and you get a really cool shot of the Orin there. Yeah, this is just a all around just a kid's imagination. I just freaking love this movie. To this day, I watch it at least once a year, sometimes twice, and it's one my youngest kid has never really got into. So it's something that some of my older kids like it, but this is a movie that it's stuck with me from the time that I first saw this as a kid till now. I still watch it, and I have put off watching it this year. I watched it early on, like early January, February time, but I kind of put it off. Like this got announced, and I was kind of gearing up where I was probably going to watch it like right before the holidays kicked in. This got announced, and I was like, absolutely not. I'll wait because this was supposed to be released in November, but it got pushed back a little bit because they were super busy and stuff. So this got pushed back, and I'm glad to have it. So I'm not complaining that it was pushed back, but yeah, glad to have this. And I was expecting it in November, so I haven't watched the movie again. So this will be the first time watch on 4K and the second time this year that I've seen the movie. So really, really looking forward to it. Yeah, yeah, we're gonna dive into this very soon, but I just want to show off all the stuff that's coming in here. So this one here, it comes with all this extra stuff. That would have the biography. The Neverending Story opens in Wolfgang Petersen's The Neverending Story, a Warner Brothers release. So this is all that information just to write about it. And this is just a really cool thing to have. Absolutely glad that they included something like this. And a big giant premium collector piece edition. There have been arguments of like it's all overpriced, expensive tchotchkes and things you don't need. Well, I've already said I collect these things already, so this is a huge bonus and win for me. But this is more than stickers. This is press release. This is something that they had sent out to everybody back when the movie was new. So yeah, I'm glad they did something like this. I'm glad there was no like stickers or tchotchkes. And if you like that type of stuff, that's totally cool. More power to you. But I have never been. I'm not a sticker guy. I never will be. And just recently, one of my all-time favorite movies, it came with Demolition Man. Demolition Man came with some stickers inside. They made me chuckle, but I could care less. I really could care less. So I'm glad that that's not with this. I think they did that. I think they did that very, very nicely and perfect. And so then as we open this, what's in here? There's going to be, we open this up, and you have this movie poster, and oh man, I can't wait to get this framed. I know there's going to be people that are not going to do it, but I'm going to get this framed, and I'm not going to open it up. It's the full. It's huge. This is huge. This was like a replica original movie poster. So the original movie poster size. This is a replica of that, and yeah, this is something I can't wait to get that framed. Very glad that they included that stuff. Something like this too. Oh wow! So this one right here, it looks like it looks like a lobby card. It looks like just a giant lobby card. I'm not sure. I didn't even read what that was when I ordered this. I needed it. I didn't care. And so yeah, these look like replica lobby cards, but I've never seen one this big. So really glad that they made them this big, because there have been times with some of my favorite movies, and I'm pretty sure that this one's going to make it. So uh, that I frame the extra stuff in here. Now, a lot of people won't. A lot of people just keep it all together because they think it holds the value. For me, there is no value on this. For me, I'm never going to sell it. It's mine. It's something that I want to keep. And so to keep all this stuff inside the box, for me, I think is silly. So this is the type of stuff that I would have framed. And now this poster is so big and these are so big. Normally I would kind of frame it all together where I'd put the art cards or lobby cards around the poster or in some kind of fashion, or maybe put them all on one side and then put that there. It's going to be way too big. So I don't know exactly how I'm going to do this, but these are something that once we move that I'm going to be looking at getting framed. You have Falcor and Treyu. That was the first time when he wakes up. Absolutely love that. This too. Oh my God. That is just super. I can't be more impressed with this entire. Man. I think this is, for me, this is probably the best release of the year so far. I can't wait to dive into the movie. But as far as like premium sets go, collector sets go, they knocked this out of the park. And I am a huge imprint fanboy. And this is not me just, saying so. Like, I actually paid for this. They didn't send it to me. I really love this. I love everything that they did. And oh man, no, I love that. I can't wait to get this framed. And a lot of times I do frame my own stuff, but something like this at this level, I might have done at the framers and just get that whole like a little bit more premium touch. But yeah, oh my God, yep. This is just really, really awesome. Absolutely love that. And at the bottom it says property of National Screen Services Corporation, licensed to use only in connection with exhibition of this picture at the theatrical licensing. This material license agrees not to trade, sell, or give away or permit to sell to others. And it's funny because all those lobby cards, if that's what this really is, they always end up like on eBay or somebody had them at some point. The movies are really, really old. And so I do always find them. And I have quite a few lobby cards myself. But yeah, this is just great. This is great. I've never had like the merchandise or the memorabilia from this movie, and it easily makes my top 25. One of my 5 favorite fantasy films of all time. So this is a huge, huge win for me. Very happy to have this. And like I said, I know there's going to be tons of people that will never frame this, but I was like, it's a poster, man. I was like, I can understand maybe you don't want to do the lobby cards, but it's a poster. The poster, hang it up, frame it up, do it up. And the fact that it comes in this nice little folder, oh, that is so really, I just think everything they did is perfect. And then I'm going to hold this up. I'm going to set these down here. All right, now I want to show off this without that stuff in there. And so we open this up, and this piece here, I'm afraid it's going to fall out, but I just want to show you that's like dead center there. And so it actually looks really nice without that. So if there was a way for you to display this, it's just really awesome. And I actually have something very similar to that. I have a display similar to this. I'll show it off. I made it. And I'll show it off another video, another time. But as we open this up, this is just really nice. I love slip boxes. I'm a huge fan. And it was Imprint was the very first time I ever got a slip box. And if you had anything from them, this one is a little bit thicker than their normal slip boxes. This is number 365. So this is something that it's definitely going on the shelf in a display fashion. Normally, especially because it's number 365, I would have all of my Imprint stuff lined up in numerical order. I have a couple of them, like Pretty Baby doesn't go in the line because I have a whole bunch of the Pretty Baby different movies on a different shelf and that type of stuff. So this is the same thing. It's not going to go with the Imprint stuff. And I love the lenticular on this. I think that's the first time that they've done that. That's just really, really cool. So this is definitely going to be displayed on the shelf with all of my Neverending Story stuff. I think it's top notch. Absolutely top notch. Probably one of my favorite releases of the year. Obviously, depending on the quality of the film and the sound and all that. But I just hear good things. I'm really looking forward to this. And the fact that, my favorite thing about Imprint 100% is the fact that we always get one art on the slip box, and then there's always something on the back. And so he's reading the book on the back. But then we get different art on the actual cover. Really love that. And I didn't check, but I don't normally check, but maybe this is dual-sided. Actually, if you put this in your own clear Amaray case, this isn't double-sided in the fact that you can turn around, but it has that. So yeah, I don't know what happened there, but I will be, maybe if that's, the further thing, if they're doing a Blu-ray case, but I will be getting a clear case so I can have this all set up correctly, because that's just really cool. And I'm glad that they did that. That's a really, really nice touch. But now, now I have to track down a Amaray case that whole, or not an Amaray case, it's called Canavo. It's an Anova case. There's a different kind of clear case that this would put in, and I forget, a Skinova. I think it's Skinova case. And so get one of those that has enough holders and be able to hold all this stuff. And this is a this little documentary here. This is Life After the Neverending Story. I almost picked this up a couple times, so I'm glad they included that. But yes, this is 100% my favorite premium edition if we're just going off packaging alone. So we're going to dive into this. I'm not going to go through all of the versions. I'm just going to watch the one version here. See the 4K of the original US theatrical cut, because that's the version I'm 100% familiar with, and I'm just going to dive into those special features. I might pop in some of the other discs to just kind of get a feel for it, but I'm not going to sit down and watch this movie 5 times or 4 times, however many times this is. But definitely going to dive into the 4K on this. So the Neverending Story on 4K. Now, this is something that I've been looking forward to for a long time. I was on the fence about getting that German version, and I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I waited for this, because, man, I was really impressed all around. I love the presentation. I'm a big Imprint fanboy, so this was just a huge win for me. But honestly, I would have loved just this version alone, like with the hologram or lenticular cover there. Just something I think for me was going to be top notch. But the fact that you're getting the display and the book and the box and all the stuff that it came with, and they're not just, for me, silly throwaway tchotchkes like stickers. So 100%, I absolutely love this. And who is it for? It's for your fanboy. It's for somebody that just loves this movie so much. A premium set is it's that or nothing. But this is something that I've had in my collection for a long time. I've been watching it since I was a kid, and I think we got to dive into some of these previous versions. And I think the reason is because every time a new version like this gets talked about or it gets mentioned or it even comes out, you hear all around, and not everybody agrees, but you hear all around from reviewers, from people in the comments. I've seen it just like trying to do some research on a film that I didn't pick up and just see if it was worth upgrading. And I've seen it in different forums where it's a little bit divided. Some people are like, yeah, it's great. Some people really go ahead to tell you how good the new 4K is, kind of tell you how bad the old Blu-ray wasn't. And I disagree many times, not all the time, but there's been many times where I'm like, that old Blu-ray looks really good on my TV. I still want to get the 4K, but it's not as bad as I think some people are maybe making it out to sound. So as we dive in, talking about the previous versions, love the VHS. That's where it all started for me. I love the cover on this. So to have this artwork in here, I think is where I think my love for this version is just top notch. So you have the same artwork minus this like bottom stuff there, but it's the same artwork. Huge fan. And then we go to the DVD where we have this artwork, and then you take this out and then you have that artwork again. So I'm a huge fan that they utilized those two things and combined that. I'm a big fan of that. And so this is something that, as I was diving in and I saw this, it did bring me back to the nostalgia of this. But every time we go from one version to the next, there's usually a little bit of an upgrade in quality. So going from the VHS to this DVD, you had an upgrade in quality. So you had a little bit better picture, you had some access to some special features, but then also this one didn't do anything special with the sound. You had 2-channel audio the way it was recorded here. You also had that here. Not a big deal because that's the way it was recorded. But then when you go to the Blu-ray, this is where some people might have missed this altogether. But this Blu-ray had a restoration done back in like 2010, 2011. Whenever this came out, there was a full extensive restoration done. And the studio where this was filmed, this was sent back to them. They restored it. And not only just did they restore their version, they restored the US American version of this movie as well, because that version had a bunch of parts that were cut out because the US version is a little bit shorter. And, all those parts back then were restored for this film. And they did it in different ways. And because they cut the original camera negative, on those, they had to use a different source to restore those missing pieces. But even back then, this was restored from the original camera negative, and it was done on a 3K scan. So this original Blu-ray was really good. And when they took this, the 3K scan of this, and they did that, before they did any of the polishing up and making it better and just enhancing the picture, before they were doing all that restoration, they removed all of the film grain. And then after they did all of their fixing this and restoring it and making it better, they layered the film grain right back on top, so they didn't smooth it away, and you had a really good image, a really good Blu-ray, and then it maintained that film quality look because of the way this was handled. And then after, they go into detail in the restoration how that it had a look in this dark gray wash. And you find that across a ton of older 4Ks now. And it's a conversation that is coming up regularly, that it has this dark gray look to it, because after they do the restoration, they went through and recolor graded it. And then they looked at the original source, and then they went frame by frame to recolor it back to what they could see it was closest to what the original source was. And that's why this looks really good, and it always did. So anybody that says, this is amazing and perfect and just, this was crap, this was amazing. This was always a really, really good Blu-ray. Now, as we dive into this, I was impressed by the Blu-ray of this. I popped that in because I wanted to see the special features. I wanted to see what was there. I popped the Blu-ray in first just to check it out. And if I didn't know any better, I would have thought that this was the 4K. Like, as I'm watching the US American version of the Blu-ray, I thought that was, the picture quality on it was so good. I was just a little blown away thinking that was the 4K source. And it just kind of proves the point of something I've been kind of talking about recently of, do you really need a 4K? And, sometimes the Blu-ray, a really good 4K restoration put out on a Blu-ray, can look amazing, and you don't always necessarily need that 4K, because everybody's 4K TVs are different and their bells and whistles to enhance the 4K picture, maybe on or off. That Blu-ray is that perfect happy medium. So, going from just this really, really good Blu-ray to this restored Blu-ray, like it looks good. It looks really good. And so as then I popped in the 4K of this, it just, typical really good 4K. This probably is this whole entire presentation, this package, everything about this for me is a definitive edition. You have an amazing experience with the Dolby Vision. Now, that was only available on the US version, so the Dolby Vision option. The German version had just regular HDR, which that was still good. And the colors throughout all of the versions, the German and the US version, they were pretty consistent throughout. So the color grading on it, I thought, was really top notch. Now with the Dolby Vision, my television has the ability to show Dolby Vision Light or Dolby Vision Dark. I understand that not everybody has that feature or option, but as I watched this, I watched it on the Dolby Vision Dark. And so it did give me a little bit more richer blacks, but I was also watching this while the sun was out and the day, the sun was coming into the windows. So to get a little bit of a darker picture, it kind of worked for me a little bit better. But other than that, when I tested them all and I checked them all out, and then I moved this back to vivid instead of the Dolby Vision Light or Dark, and I put it on the vivid mode with this to get everything as consistent or as close to consistent as I could, the colors looked pretty solid through the entire thing. So all versions of the film had to, seem to have the same color grade, which for me is 100% top notch, because there have been times where one version of a movie from a different country has amped up colors and it's just not as close or as clear as some of the other ones. So the fact that, just to start out with, the color grade on all of them was top notch. Now with this, you're still getting that DTS 5.1 master audio that you had on that Blu-ray. So you're getting that same surround sound audio experience, which was phenomenal. I did crank it up pretty loud because I was able to watch this during the day when not everybody was home, and so like none of my neighbors were able to, complain about it. And I had this cranked up, and it was just a really good experience. And so this one right here, I'm not going to say it brought me back to when I was a kid and the first time I watched it, but it was an experience that for me, it almost took me like it felt like I was maybe watching it in the movie theater. I've got a bigger TV, but I had that kind of like it kind of wowed me a little bit, and it was just over the picture quality. I thought the picture quality was top notch, and so this is something for me 100% separate from the fact that I'm an imprint fanboy and I do love them, and in my eyes they can do no wrong. Honestly, I think that the picture quality on this is top notch. I think the 4K is the way to go, and what I do hope is, if I understand that this whole entire package and presentation is not for everybody. Spending this amount of money on this version is for your premium high-end collector, people that like some of this stuff, or you have just that real deep connection with this movie, and having like a definitive presentation of it is the way to go. I totally understand that. But this release and this version of the movie, I do suspect will be coming out in standard slipcases, through whether maybe not through imprint, but through other companies. They might be able to get the rights to license this version of the 4K and be able to put out their own version. We see that all the time. I don't have any solid information on that, but it is my speculation based on what's happened previously with many other releases. And the fact that this is a premium only, that really is kind of the only negative thing that I would say about this. Through Viavision Imprint, you could get the DVD only version of it, but you could not get a 4K standalone. You could not get a Blu-ray standalone. So it is something that, on that aspect of it, I would definitely take points off, and that would be my real only negative, was that there was only this big giant premium edition version available. And I spent my own money on this because this is one of my all-time favorite movies. I've got tons of copies of this. I actually found that I have 2 VHS. So this is the other VHS that I have, the clamshell. I've got a CED floating around here somewhere. This is a movie that I've had in my collection for a very long time, and I've owned on every single format. Now, very recently, I did just pick this up not too long ago, but I had this version of the movie on DVD way back when the DVDs were new. So I've owned this movie for a very long time, and this for me is the definitive version. Now, there's times where a 4K comes out, and I don't mind going back to some of the other versions. And I just kind of flip flop, like, depending on what room I'm in. Like if I'm in this room, I have a high definition plasma TV in here, but I also have the tube TV. So a lot of times I'll just pop in the VCR, sit there, and just really enjoy that and have that kind of experience. For me, moving forward, I'm pretty sure the only way I'm watching this movie is the 4K. I mean, maybe background noise. I might pop in the DVD in the kitchen or pop in the VCR in here if I'm busy doing something and I just kind of want something familiar. I might do that. But to actually sit down and watch it, it is going to be this 4K version. Let me know in the comments down below. Let me know your experience of Neverending Story, if it's a movie that you love, a movie that you don't love, or this version. Are you trying to pick it up? Did you pick it up? Are you hoping that a Blu-ray comes out or a 4K comes out of this restoration? Let me know in the comments down below. For some 4K movie recommendations, you're going to want to check out this video right here. And with that, remember to watch a movie today, and I'll catch you guys next time.